Alrighty guys, happy Friday to you, and welcome to the video here today for Friday, August 19th, 2022. My name is Brock Page, and I've been doing sports picks for free right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. And guys, college football is right around the corner. It's only 1 week away. And if you want to see which one of those games that I'm actually betting on personally, games that I actually have my money on, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for my college football tier membership bets on my website. And the link for those plays is located in the description section below. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my website. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. And what I do on my website is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Brewers squaring off against the Cubs, 2:20 Eastern first pitch. Now, Milwaukee's the $1.45 favorite on the road, totals 9 runs. Aaron Ashby for the Brewers, Keegan Thompson for Chicago. Now, Thompson's having a solid season thus far on the bump for the Cubs. He's 9-5 with an ERA in the 3s. The Cubs have also won 7 out of their last 10 ball games, and they have a winning record in divisional play at home. Nico Hoerner is the club leader in batting average. The shortstop's hitting .300 at the dish right now. Meanwhile, Patrick Wisdom leads the team in homers and runs batted in. Now they're taking on a Brewers club on the other side of things, who plays just .500 baseball against the NL Central on the road. And hitting-wise, the Brewers have had their issues getting base runners. They're in the bottom 10 in team batting average, and they're striking out more times a game than most clubs in the National League. Now, starting pitcher Aaron Ashby, he's had significant issues getting the W this year. The lefty's just 2-10 on the season with an ERA in the 4s. Now, total-wise, Milwaukee's gone 63% to the over in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, the Cubbies went 60% to the over in their last 10 outings themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Cubs plus 1.5, over 9. Next matchup, it is going to be Reds-Pirates, 7:05 East. Cincinnati's minus $1.25, total 7.5. Graham Ashcraft for Cincinnati. Bryce Wilson for Pittsburgh. As bad as the Buccos have been this year, they're almost playing .500 baseball against the NL Central at home. They're at least competitive. They also got the W in 3 out of Wilson's last 5 starts on the mound. Of course, those victories came against the likes of Baltimore, Colorado, and Milwaukee. Now, Brian Reynolds is currently the team leader for Pittsburgh here in batting average, home runs, and runs batted in. Now, they're taking on a Reds team on the other side who lost 7 out of their last 9 themselves, and they've had a terrible time against the NL Central. The Reds won only 6 out of 18 divisional road games, and they strike out more times a game than most clubs in the National League. When it comes to the total, Cincinnati's 11-7 to the over against the NL Central on the road. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh saw their last 3 straight home games get over the line. I'm going to lean toward the Pirates plus 105, over 7.5 hook. Next matchup, Mets-Phillies, 7:05 East. Philadelphia is the $1.20 favorite at home, total 7.5. Aaron Nola for the Phillies, Chris Bassett for New York. Now, Bassett's got double-digit wins on the year, along with a .327 ERA. The righty's also fanned 134 batters and has a 1.13 whip. The Mets have also been dominant within the division this year. They're 40-18 straight up thus far against the NL East. And that's good for nearly 70% in that category. The Mets have also been really good at hitting the baseball this year. They're in the top 5 in team batting average. And they strike out fewer times a game than most clubs in the National League, certainly doing a great job making contact with the baseball. Pete Alonso's leading the National League in RBI with 99 of them. Meanwhile, Jeff McNeil, he's the team leader with a .315 batting average. Now they're taking on Aaron Nola here today for the Phillies, who's had some dynamic stuff this year, but simply can't get the W. Nola comes into today's start with a losing 8-9 record on the season. The Phils also dropped 4 out of their last 7. And they were shut out in all 4 of those losses. And when it comes to the total, Phillies gone 80% to the under in their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, New York 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Mets plus 105, under 7.5. Next ball game, little AL East action. I'm talking about the Red Sox squaring off against the Orioles. 7:05 Eastern first pitch at Camden Yards. Now this one's pretty much a coin flip here, guys. Both teams are minus $110, totals 9 runs. Cutter Crawford for Boston, Jordan Lyles for Baltimore. Now, Lyles does have 9 wins on the season along with 114 strikeouts. The O's are also playing some really good baseball at home. They're 33-22 straight up at Camden Yards this year. And that's good for 60% in that category. Anthony Santander, he's leading the organization in home runs and RBI. Now they're also facing a Boston team here today who's been terrible against divisional opponents. Out of Boston's 23 divisional road games, they got the W only 6 times. And of course, that's good for just 26% in that category. When it comes to the pitching, well, these guys do give up their fair share of runs. They're in the bottom 10 in the league in runs allowed per contest. Now, Cutter Crawford comes into today's ballgame with a losing 3-4 record, along with an ERA in the 4s. When it comes to the number, Boston's last 4 straight on the road did get over the total. Meanwhile, Baltimore went 4-2 to the over in their last 6 Jordan Lyles starts. I'm going to lean toward the O's minus $110, over 9. Next matchup, same division. I'm talking about the Blue Jays taking on the Yankees, 7:05 p.m. East. Both teams are minus $110 in this game, too. A lot of parity in the NL East. Totals 8 runs. Kevin Gausman for Toronto, Jameson Taillon for New York. Now, Taillon's 11-3 on the season with a 1.13 whip. The righties also fanned 108 batters. And even if Taillon has a bumpy start here today, these Yankee hitters are still leading the American League in runs per game. Aaron Judge has a league-best 46 home runs, along with 102 RBI. He's also leading the Bigs with a 1.054 OPS. Now they're facing Kevin Gausman here today, who's having a tough time getting the W for Toronto. He comes into today's ball game with a losing 8-9 record. The Jays have also dropped 6 out of their last 9 as a team. They have a losing record on the road this year. And when it comes to the scoring, 5 out of Gausman's last 8 starts did fall under the number. Meanwhile, New York went 7-3 to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees minus $110, under 8. Next ball game, Angels Tigers, 7:10 p.m. East. The LA Angels are minus 130, total 7.5. Patty Sandoval for Los Angeles, Matt Manning for Detroit. Now, Manning's yet to record a win in 25 innings of work this season. He also has a whip of 1.32 during that short span. Meanwhile, as a team, the Tigers lost 8 out of their last 10 ball games, and they've had little runs to show for it. And, of course, that really shouldn't come as much of a surprise, as this lineup's arguably the worst in the Bigs. Detroit is dead last in scoring, dead last in OPS. And no real shocker here, guys. These guys hit fewer home runs a game than any other team in the majors. Now, they're also taking on Patty Sandoval here today, who's definitely been competitive this year. The lefty's got 106 strikeouts and just 100 innings of work. He's also got himself an ERA in the 3s. Now, when it comes to head-to-head meetings between these two franchises, the Angels average nearly 6.5 runs per contest in their last 10 meetings with Detroit. Now, when it comes to the total, Patty Sandoval's last 2 straight starts fell under the number. Meanwhile, Detroit went 7-3 to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Angels minus 130, under 7.5. Next ballgame, Royals Rays, 7:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is minus $2, total 6.5. Shane McClanahan for Tampa Bay, Brady Singer for Kansas City. And even though the Sing Man's having a good year, the Royals are on a 4-game skid, and they scored only 3 total runs during that time frame. And that really shouldn't surprise anyone. This lineup's in the bottom 5 in homers, and they're averaging less than 4 runs a game. Now, they're also going to have to face Shane O'Mac here today, who's been outstanding this season. The lefty's 11-5 on the year with an ERA of 2.28. Now, he's also punched out 165 batters and also has a .87 whip. Now, more recently as a team, the Rays won 5 out of their last 6. And they averaged nearly 6 runs a game during that span. Now, Randy Arozarena, he currently leads the team in homers and runs batted in. Meanwhile, Yandy Diaz, he has the highest batting average in the lineup. When it comes to the total, Tampa Bay went 60% to the under in their last 10 contests. Meanwhile, on the other side of things for Kansas City, the unders have hit 7 times in a row in Brady Singer's last 7 starts. I'm going to lean toward Tampa Bay -1.5, and the under 6.5 in that very tight window. Next ball game, little AL Central action. I'm talking about the White Sox facing the Guardians, 7:10 Eastern first pitch. Now, Cleveland's -130 at home, total 7.5. Tristan McKenzie for Cleveland, Lance Lynn for Chicago. And even though Lynn's had some struggles, he still has a 1.25 whip, and he averages over a strikeout an inning. Now, the White Sox also got the W in 5 out of their last 7, and they have little problem getting base runners. As a matter of fact, the Sox are in the top 3 in the league in team batting average. Jose Abreu's hitting .306 at the dish. He's facing Tristan McKenzie on the mound here today, and he's certainly had a tough time getting the W. The righty's just 8-9 thus far in the season. Now, the Guardians have also taken the outright loss in 3 out of McKenzie's last 4 starts. They actually scored just 7 total runs during that time frame. And speaking of offensive problems, the Guardians have actually been little to no threat in hitting the long ball this year. Definitely not hitting for power. The only team who hits fewer home runs than Cleveland is Detroit. Now, when it comes to the total, Cleveland saw 7 out of their last 10 ball games fall under the total. Meanwhile, the White Sox went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean towards Chicago plus $1.10. Under 7.5. Next contest, little interleague play. Maybe a preview of the World Series. You never know. These 2 teams playing some really good baseball. I'm talking about the Astros squaring off against the Braves, 7:20 p.m. East. Now, Atlanta's -$1.25. Total's 8.5 runs. Kyle Wright for Atlanta. Lance McCullers for Houston. Now, the Astros did get the W in 7 out of their last 10. And they've done a real nice job against the National League. Matter of fact, the Stros got the W in 5 out of their last 7 interleague contests on the road. They're also doing a real nice job of hitting for power. They're in the top 3 in home runs, top 5 in OPS. Yordan Alvarez is 3rd in the majors in both home runs and OPS himself. Meanwhile, Kyle Tucker's the club leader in RBI with 80 of them. Now, they're squaring off against an Atlanta lineup here today who certainly strike out an awful lot at the plate. These guys are actually in the bottom 3 in the majors in strikeouts per 9 at the dish. When it comes to the number, Atlanta saw unders in 6 out of their last 10 outings. Meanwhile, Houston went 3-1 to the under in their last 4 on the road. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Houston Astros plus 105, under 8.5. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Rangers at the Twins, 8:10 p.m. East. Minnesota's the $1.35 favorite at home, totals 8 runs. Dylan Bundy for the Twins, Martin Perez for Texas. Now, Marty's coming into this thing here today with a 9-3 record and an ERA in the 2s. Now, Perez has also fanned 125 batters. Meanwhile, as a team, the Rangers got the W in 4 out of their last 6. And they averaged 6 runs a game in those victories. Corey Seager's got a club best 26 home runs. Meanwhile, Dallas Garcia, he also leads the franchise in RBI. Now they're taking on Dylan Bundy here today for Minnesota, who's got himself an ERA in the high fours. And that really isn't shocking, as this Minnesota pitching staff, they do throw a lot of pus. These guys are in the bottom 5 in the league in homers allowed per game. When it comes to the total, Minnesota went 60% to the under in their last 10. They also saw 4 out of Bundy's last 7 starts fall under the total as well. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Texas plus 1.5, under 8. Next ballgame, little NL West action. I'm talking about the Giants taking on the Rockies. 8:40 Eastern first pitch at Coors Field. Now, San Francisco's the $1.75 favorite on the road. Totals 11.5. Alex Wood for San Francisco. Jose Urena for Colorado. As bad as the Rockies have been, they've still been smacking the ball around in Denver. They're leading the league in home scoring and hits. They also have C.J. Cron, who's the team leader in homers and runs batted in. Cron's actually 7th in the bigs in that RBI category. Now he's facing Alex Wood here today for the Giants. And the lefty hasn't been great. He's got an ERA in the 4s along with a losing 8-9 record. Now the Giants also lost their last 2 straight. And they've played really bad in divisional play. San Francisco got the W in only 6 out of 22 divisional road games. When it comes to the total in this one, San Francisco has gone 7-4 to the over in their last 11 Alex Wood starts. Meanwhile, Colorado went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Rockies plus 1.5, over 11.5. Next ballgame, Nationals Padres, 9:40 p.m. East. San Diego's minus 360, total 7.5. Blake Snell for San Diego, Paolo Espino for Washington. Now to 81-plus innings, Paolo Espino is still in search of his first win. The righty's 0-5 on the year with an ERA in the 4s. Now this horrible Nats pitching staff is also, they've allowed more homers and more runs per contest than any other team in the big leagues. Now these Washington hitters, they're going to have to face Blake Snell here today. And I'll tell you what, Snell's really turned it on down the home stretch. Snell's actually lowered his ERA back into the 3s, and he also has 105 strikeouts and just 78-plus innings of work. And that's really been the strength of this Padres organization, that pitching staff. Their pitchers are currently in the top 10 in fewest hits allowed per game. And when it comes to scoring, San Diego went 60% to the under in their last 10 outings. They're also 62% to the under against the National League at Petco Park. I'm going to lean towards San Diego, minus 1.5, under 7.5. Next contest, it is going to be Cardinals at the Diamondbacks, 9:40 p.m. East. St. Louis is minus 175 on the road, totals 8.5. Miles Mikolas for St. Louis, Tommy Henry for Arizona. And out of very limited action this year, Tommy Henry's already got 2 wins in just 17 1/3 innings of work. The lefty also has himself a whip of just 1.21. And even if Tommy blows chunks here today, the D-backs as a team, they've won 4 out of their last 6. They've got a winning record at Chase Field. Now they're taking on a Cardinals team who actually plays their worst baseball on the road. Matter of fact, St. Louis currently has a .464 win percentage when they bat first. Now their pitching staff also strike out fewer batters a game than most clubs in the National League, really struggling with punching batters out. Now total-wise, the Cards did see their last 3 straight road games get over the total. Meanwhile, Arizona on the other side of things, they went 3-0 to the over in their last 3 at Chase Field. I'm going to lean toward Arizona plus 1.5, over 8.5. Next contest, Mariners A's, 9:40 p.m. East. Seattle's the $1.35 favorite on the road, total 7.5. Marco Gonzalez for the M's, Cole Irvin for Oakland. And even though Irvin's certainly done his part this year, his strikeouts are actually really down this season, and the A's just don't win for him. They don't win for anybody. But Irvin comes into today's ball game with a 6-10 record. Now, the A's also can't hit for shit. They're dead last in the league in team batting average, and they're scoring less than 3.5 runs a game. Now, they're also facing a Seattle club on the other side of things, who's on a 3-game winning streak themselves. And they also won 7 out of their last 10. Now, the Mariners have also been solid against divisional opponents this season. They're winning 62% of their contests against the AL West on the road. When it comes to the scoring, Seattle saw their last 6 straight road games all get over the number. They're also 17-12 to the over against the AL West on the road. I'm going to lean towards Seattle minus 135, over 7.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup for the video. It is going to be Marlins-Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are minus 275, totals 8 runs. Tyler Anderson for Los Angeles, Jesus Luzardo for Miami. And even though Luzardo's pitched well, the Fish haven't been able to win for him. He comes into today's start with a losing 3-5 record. Meanwhile, as a team, the Marlins dropped 7 out of their last 10. And they struggled offensively during that span. They actually averaged less than 2.6 runs a game during that 10-game span I just mentioned. And I'll tell you what, more bad news for Fish fans. You're going to have to face Tyler Anderson here today for the Dodgers, and he's been outstanding. The lefty's 13-2 this year with an ERA of 2.81. And in addition to winning 7 out of their last 10, the Dodgers continue to hit well. They're leading the league in OPS and runs per game. Freddie Freeman's hitting a team-best .319 at the dish. Meanwhile, Trey Turner is 5th in the bigs in runs batted in with 83 of them. When it comes to the total, LA went 6-3 to the under in their last 9 Tyler Anderson starts. Meanwhile, Miami on the other side, they went 9-1 to the under in their last 10 as a team. I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers minus 1.5 and the under 8 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. I like the Cubs plus 1.5 over 9. Give me Pittsburgh plus 105 over 7.5. I like the Mets plus 105 under 7.5. Baltimore minus $1.10 over 9. New York Yankees minus $1.10 under 8. LA Angels minus 130 under 7.5. Tampa Bay Rays minus 1.5 under 6.5. Chicago White Sox plus $1.10 under 7.5. I like Houston plus 105 under 8.5 runs. Texas plus 1.5 under 8. Colorado Rockies plus 1.5 over 11.5. San Diego minus 1.5 under 7.5 runs. Arizona plus 1.5 over 8.5. Seattle minus 135 over 7.5 runs. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage. I have packages starting at just $1.99. I like the Dodgers minus 1.5 under 8 runs. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. If you do end up getting a package here today, just keep in mind you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And guys, if you want to get access to every single package, every single bet, every single day, you're going to want to sign up for my board member package. It's an all-inclusive membership. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.